Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to see the second chapter of geography titled as Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation, and Wildlife Resources. In today's class, we are going to learn mainly about land and soil. Let's move ahead. In this slide, you see two pictures. One is Mambas Field in Africa and the other one is Peters Field in New Zealand. The former one is rocky and the latter one is green grass. This shows the different types of land that we can see in our earth. Let's see what is land. Land is among the most important natural resources. We saw what are natural resources and artificial resources, and land is among the most important of the natural resource. It covers only the 30% of our land. It means that the earth is covered of 30% land and the rest is water. But out of this 30%, only a less percent or small percent is habitable for living. We have seen that this land is not evenly divided in means of population. Some places are densely populated and some are completely uninhabitable. Why is that so? It is because of the topography or the geological feature of the land. The rugged topography, steep slopes of the mountains, low-lying areas are susceptible to waterlogging. These low-lying areas of earth are very susceptible or which are very frequent for waterlogging. Hence, these are very less populated or uninhabited. So likewise, desert areas, thick forested areas are also part of this, where people are found in very less number, or we can say that it is completely uninhabited. On the other side, plains and river valleys offer suitable land for agriculture. These areas are very good and very efficient or effective for land and agriculture. Hence, these are densely populated areas of the world. Now let's see what are the uses of the land. The land can be used for many purposes like agriculture, forestry, mining, building roads, building houses, setting up industries. These are all human uses. The land can be used for agriculture, for growing crops for our daily consuming, forestry, which develops the natural habitat for both humans, animals and plants, mining, which definitely improves our resources, building roads, which makes the movement from one place to another very easy and simple, building houses gives us shelter from natural calamities and other threats, setting up industries which improves the development of the land. Now, this land can be divided into two parts on the basis of private land and community land. What's a private land? Any land owned by individuals are known as private lands, whereas land which is owned by community for common uses like collection of fodder, fruits, nuts or medicinal herbs. Fodder means food like hay or stack generally used for livestock. So these community lands are also called common property resources. In these four pictures, we see how the change has took place in the land use over the time. In the first picture, you see how the land was completely used only for agriculture. In the second and third, we see how partial development took place and how agriculture deteriorated. And in the final picture, the fourth one, we see how a completely developed land is seen, where agriculture is given least importance and buildings, infrastructure, roads and houses have emerged greatly. This is how we see the change in land use over the period of time. People and their demands are ever growing, but the availability of land is limited. Over a period of time, the demands and needs of people have grown impatiently, but the availability of land is very limited. That makes the thing very worse. The need is great, but the resources are very limited. People started encroaching the common lands to build up commercial areas, housing complexes in the urban areas, and to expand the agricultural land in the rural areas. So, due to their need, people began encroaching the common lands so that they may turn it into housing complexes, commercial areas, and urban areas for their betterment. And hence, the result was land degradation, landslides, soil erosion, desertification are the major threats to the environment because of the expansion of agriculture and constructional activities. So, due to this, there has been a great trouble like land degradation, landslides, etc. Let's see what is land degradation. Land degradation is a natural or human induced process that negatively affects the land to function effectively with an environmental system and can be defined as a process of degrading land from a former state. Or in simple terms, it can be stated that the process of changing a green land to a deserted land is where the land loses its fertility is called as land degradation. The soil has got a lot of minerals and nutrients which sustains the growth of plants and other herbs. But when, due to different reasons, when this fertility is lost, it changes itself into desert. So this is known as land degradation. What's a landslide? A landslide is any geologic process in which gravity causes rock, soil, artificial fill, or a combination of the three to move down a slope. Several things can trigger landslides, including the slow weathering of rocks as well as soil erosion, earthquakes, and volcanic activity. So, landslide means slipping of soil or rock from a hill to a valley. This is known as landslide. And as you have seen, many things can cause these landslides, including slow weathering of rocks, soil erosion, or earthquakes or volcanic activity. What is soil erosion? Soil erosion is defined as wearing away of topsoil. Topsoil is the top layer of soil and is the most fertile because it contains the most organic, nutrient-rich materials. One of the main causes of soil erosion is water erosion, which is the loss of topsoil due to water. The major reason of soil erosion is due to lack of vegetation because when we plant trees or any other plants, it catches the soil and keeps it together. But when in the absence of these trees, the roots are unable, because of the absence of these roots, they are unable to hold these soils. And when water gushes over it in a great speed, the soil is washed away. Thus causes soil erosion. What is desertification? The process by which fertile land becomes desert, typically as a result of drought, deforestation, or inappropriate agriculture. So when a fertile land or a green land turns into desert due to any reason like lack of rain, lack of water, deforestation, or inappropriate agriculture, this is known as desertification. What is conservation of land? Afforestation. So how do we conserve our land? Over a period of time, we have come to know why conservation of land is very necessary. Let's learn how to conserve the land. The first way is afforestation. One of the best ways to conserve soil is to increase the area under forest, which means that plant more trees and increase the area of forest. Second, checking overgrazing. Overgrazing is often becomes a reason for degradation of land because when there is overgrazing, the green pastoral land is eventually turned into desert. Constructing dams, one of the scientific methods to check soil erosion because these dams enable to hold the water from speedy gushing over the soil, which definitely holds the soil erosion. And definitely changing agricultural practices. We have definitely learned about different agricultural practices like terrace farming, etc. So it is often good to change these practices for the betterment of the soil. What are the main mitigation strategies? So what are the different strategies that we can apply for better land use and conservation? First is hazard mapping. Hazard mapping means we take a detailed review of a land or we come to know through scientific methods whether this land will be eroded or it is prone to soil erosion. So thus identifying the pros and cons, we include many developmental things so that the soil may not be eroded or may conserve the land. Land use means proper use of land for vegetation and other cultivation so that the land remains fertile. Retaining walls means we build up walls in the slope areas so that there may not be any landslides. Surface draining control works means we properly channel the flow of water so that there may not be any soil erosion. Engineered structures, which means we include modern technologies to find out the better ways to conserve the land. Increasing vegetation cover, which means that we use the empty land, eroded land, so that we may cover them with vegetation so that the quality and the fertility of soil may be maintained. Insurance means we cover up the quality of the land. So, what have we learned in today's class? What is land? We have definitely seen what is land. It is one of the most important resources. Different uses of land, like for agriculture, forestry, mining, building roads and houses, setting up industries. Division of land can be done into two, that is private and community. Second, change in land uses over the period of time. And also we have seen what are the main problems that we face due to these changes, like land degradation, landslide, soil erosion, desertification, etc. The second, how do we conserve soil? And what are the mitigation strategies to conserve these soil? So thank you, dear students. We will learn more about land and soil in the next part. Thank you and have a nice day.